welcome. This is our video blog from Coaching House, and I'm actually here with Дэвид Клаттербак, who is visiting Finland at the moment. He was just actually running a training module in our systemic business coach training. And a few words about you, I guess. That first, I should mention that you're a visiting professor from Oxford and Sheffield. And of course, you have written 55 books. That tells quite a lot about your wide and long experience. Just to go through a few insights and ideas that how do you see actually the field of coaching and the things that are going actually on in organizations nowadays. There is a lot of fuss about and a lot of talk about and around coaching culture and coaching leadership culture. Why is it, in your opinion, important for companies to go into that direction with the culture?
There seem to me to be two main reasons. The first reason is that there's a lot of evidence now to indicate that having a coaching culture, particularly at the top, is closely associated with the performance of the business. So if you want to have a business that performs well, where the leadership team performs well in particular, then you need to have a coaching set of behaviours, particularly at the top, and then all the way through the organisation. Yeah. And the second reason is that organisations are having to react faster and faster to change. Yeah. We're seeing lots of companies get into difficulties. We're seeing them go bust. A lot of the reason is that things that are moving both internally and externally too fast for them to respond to. If you want to be an agile organisation, you have to have the ability to have conversations, learning conversations all the time. And that means that you need to have coaching going on, because that's the most effective way of having those learning conversations.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, big transformations and big change programs and going on, and actually many of those are simultaneously going on.
Yeah, and coaching means that they can happen in a complex systemic way rather than a linear way. So you can have lots of change happening at the same pace as changing happening outside.
Yeah. What did you think about the real life experience? Because in my experience, at least, it's not so often you actually face and see companies or organizations that have succeeded actually on a wider scale that they have actually a coaching culture, and the mindset is widely spread in the organization. Why is it that we so hardly?
I think part of it is that organizations have such rigid structures and systems, it's quite difficult to break those down. Now, what we're seeing, where the successes are coming, and not for people launching great big programs, sending all their managers off on training and then hoping that something will happen. Where it's actually making change happen is where you've got the combination of good role models at the top, support for people throughout the organisation in doing effective coaching, and focusing the change process towards the coaching culture inside the work team. And where you've got intact work teams where there's the psychological safety to be able to challenge each other, to be able to coach each other, and including the team coaching the line manager, then you start to see really positive change happening in those teams, and those teams infect others. And that's where we're seeing the real change in large organisations.
So complex systems and very much different things going on. So it's important. Yeah. How do you then, if you have a look at the qualities of a good coach, and you reflect that to what you just mentioned, so how do you recognize a really good coach nowadays? Well, is it possible?
Some of the things that make a really good coach are quite obvious when you think about them, but may not be until you think about them. And the first quality that I find that any coach needs to have is humility. Mm-hmm. And that may not be the most obvious one, but actually it's not the knowledge that you have, it's not the communication skills you have, it's the humility and therefore the ability to truly listen to somebody else. And good coaches spend very little time talking, they spend a lot of time listening and encouraging the other person to think for themselves and to think things through. And so this humility is the first thing. The second element that makes a really good coach is reflection. The ability to reflect on how they coach, the reflection on who they are, and to integrate the coaching that they do with the person that they are.
Yeah. So it's not only about the tool set, it's about how you actually think and how you are a human being.
Yeah, the tools are just there; they're helpful, but it's the core of the conversation that's important.
Yeah, very good. Yes. And about the direction and future of coaching, so how do you see the field of coaching at the moment?
Well, what we're seeing is a much greater emphasis on coaching using people inside the organisation as opposed to outside the organisation. There's a place for both, but now we're seeing organisations integrating the two things.
Yeah.
So the externals support the internals in making coaching happen. We're seeing a lot more team coaching as well. So people helping coaching the entire team rather than just individuals. And this is because what we're looking at is coaching is a systemic thing. You cannot coach an individual as successfully as you can coach a system. So when we're coaching the individual, we are really, if we're being effective, coaching the environment around them, because that's where real change happens.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, true. And that's what it is actually our core and our focus in coaching house trainings when we are actually coaching coaches, so training coaches. So if you want to read more about David, so you can find actually the link to David's web pages from coachinghouse.fi, from our team section, and then of course in Finnish from joukkuemme osio. And you are actually visiting Helsinki and doing a seminar around these topics 18th of October. So for your information, if you're interested to learn more about David's wide experience, so that's possible in October. We warmly thank you, and it was nice to talk to you and learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.